Pranam to Sri Sadguru. Pranam to Swami Sri Hari Prasad Ji. Her Excellency, Madam Judith, Sri Musa Raja Ji, Sri Sanjay Paswan Ji, and all the dignitaries who have graced and blessed this program, both online and offline. This is the 6th annual conference on peace and reconciliation through proper right system of education. So there are three components: peace, reconciliation, and the role of education. Peace has been a coveted ideal, not only of humankind, but all creatures. Every living being wants to be in peace. And wants that through peace, they can realize happiness, bliss. It is happiness which is the summum bonum of their life. This peace is something which is instinctive and natural to us. But unfortunately, there also has been breach of peace. There has been attempts to bring about peace, but there have also been distortions, deviations, and such destructive forces which disturb peace. And therefore, it requires constant effort to maintain peace. Peace is something which has to start from within. As has been pointed out by Honorable Governor, well, a war begins in mind, but so also peace. So it is our mind which has to be properly trained, properly educated, so that there is, first of all, there is no breach of peace. And in case peace is disturbed, and quite often it is done so, then there has to be effort to reconcile, to bring about annihilation of those conditions, negative conditions, which are responsible for violation of peace. So peace, therefore, has both the positive and the negative dimensions. The negative dimensions means annihilation, obstruction of conditions which generate violation of peace. And positive one is we have to create those conditions which are responsible for maintenance of peace. And one of the most important conditions for that is that there should be ensuring justice, having a sort of what can be called as egalitarian approach to an individual and the society. Unless we care for the dignity of each and every existence, there cannot be any peace on the earth. And when we talk of dignity of existence, it's not only the human existence. or the existence of a living being, even inanimate matter also deserves to be dignified. Because our understanding is that every entity is divine in nature, and therefore, and to be divine is to be mutually helpful. The concept of divinity is always in service to one's own self and service to others as well, and not to have any discrimination, any distinction between one's own self and the other. Well, we should not think in terms of I versus thou or I versus it. Instead, we should think in terms of I and we. I as a part and parcel of we. That means we say that we are the Pinda, we are the microcosm, and we are part and parcel of the Brahmanda, the macrocosm. So that sort of belongingness to the totality. Well, it is that which is a precondition for peace and justice. So this peace, therefore, is to be brought about through constant endeavor. The word tapas is used by His Excellency the Governor. This tapas is in fact a rightful enterprise. Such an endeavor which results in universal wellness. In terminology of Bhagavad Gita, we say Loka Sangraha, welfare of the entire globe. Not only of the human beings, but also of the entire globe. The other point that is to be noted is that peace is not divisible. You cannot talk of my peace alone or peace of my country alone. It has to be global peace, universal peace. And therefore, it has to be a global enterprise, not just one single individual. Very often we recite that particular slogan, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Well, you have not only to have this feeling of oneness with others, others should also have that feeling of oneness with us. You cannot talk of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for a crooked person, because then thereby you will always be deceived. So you should make that crooked person gentle, virtuous. Peace is possible only if there is a establishment of a virtuous society, a society where there is a mutual give and take, where there is a mutual caring and sharing. In fact, the concept of yajna that has been floated in Indian culture, it stands for Tyaktena Bhunjitaha. First, you give to others, you serve others, and enjoy the rest of it. It's not that first you enjoy and then give the rest to the others. So it is a sort of a sacrifice of our narrow, selfish interest. We have to say, well, the result of our endeavor is not for us, it is for the totality. So this idea of having this cosmic vision, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, this idea that we have to constantly work for the welfare of all, for the totality. And this is possible if we have Samadrashti, the equipoise, the vision of equipoise, self-sameness, so that we treat others also the way we want others to treat us. This is what His Excellency the Governor also referred to. We say that Atmanah Pratikulani Parishamna Samachareta. So we should act in such a way that others are not put to inconvenience, others are not put to violence. In fact, peace and non-violence, they go together. And non-violence means, in fact, not to harm others. And not to harm others means to provide each and every entity legitimate means for self-enhancement. This self-enhancement is possible if we treat others like our own self. And therefore, he also, the governor also referred to Bhagavad Gita. Gita talks of Samadrashti, Shuni and Shopaka. We should not make any distinction between DOG and GOD. This sort of vision of equality. So peace, therefore, has to be indivisible. It can't be piecemeal. And further, you can't talk of peace of myself or my community or my nation or my country. It has to be universal peace, peace at all. So our Shanti part, in fact, is Om Dyo Shanti, Prithvi Shanti. Well, Sarvagum Shanti. We want Shanti everywhere, at all times, under all conditions. So that sort of a holistic vision is needed for establishment of peace. And further we say that this requires transformation. In transformation of the individual, the physical, the vital, the mental, the intellectual, and the spiritual dimensions of an individual, transformation of the family, transformation of the society, transformation of the whole community and the entire globe. So it is transformation. And this sort of transformation can be brought about through proper education alone. Though peace is something which is natural, always there is a possibility of our going astray and take recourse to such activities which are harmful and not conducive to peace. They are deterrent to the realization of peace. And if we do not realize peace, there cannot be any prosperity. And if there can be no prosperity, there cannot be any happiness also. And therefore, we have to take recourse to education. But what sort of education? That's more important. Education should not just be mere informative. We may seek information about the nature of external reality or about inner reality through psychological methodology, external reality through natural, physical sciences, etc. This is mere informative. This is not what is needed is transformative education. In education, which transforms our own being. We have not just to produce learned people in our system of education. We should also produce good people, virtuous people who can think of well-being, wellness of the totality. So it is this, in fact, quite often we make a distinction between knowledge and wisdom. What is required is not mere knowledge or information. What is needed is a transformative vision, and therefore, for that right side of education. When we say sa vidya ya vimuktaye, knowledge is liberating. Liberating means it should make us free from all viciousness, all what is technically known as asuri vritti, the devilish tendencies that may bedevil us. And therefore, Vidya is always liberating. It liberates us from all imperfections, from all viciousness. And therefore, the caption here that a right type of education is very important. We have to therefore think afresh as to what is the goal of education. What are the efficacious means to realize that goal? What are the modalities that we have to adopt and how this result of our educational enterprise reaches to each and everyone? No one should be deprived of this sort of transformative education, universalization of education. And that education should be, in fact, all-round education, a holistic education, an education which touches all dimensions of our life and our existence, the physical, the vital, the mental, the intellectual, and the spiritual. And that traditional distinction between Paravidya and Apara Vidya should be taken into account. Apara is for the mundane purposes, but we have to go beyond the mundane also to look for the transcendental. And so that sort of, and there is no cleavage between the Paravidya and Aparavidya. Isavashopunishat is very clear on this, that we have to resort to both of them. We have to seek information about our own self and about the external world, but we should also transform our whole being so that our being becomes divine. First, we have to humanize ourselves. Manur Bhava Janiya Devyam Janam. We have to humanize ourselves, be a human, a good human, and then cultivate the divine qualities, the Devi Vrittis, to use the terminology of Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, what we need there is the liberating education, an education which helps individual transformation, social transformation, and the cosmic transformation. And there cannot be any division in this. So peace, therefore, is indivisible. It is holistic, and it is that sort of peace. See, always we strive for peace. Sometimes we realize peace also through reconciliation. And there can be different ways to reconcile. But again, there will be breach of peace. And again, negative conditions get generated. And therefore, there has to be constant effort. It can't be one-time enterprise. We have to have repeated, and therefore, this art of education needs to be repeated time and again, so that we have a creation of such conditions which may bring about peace not only in one part of the globe, but all over the globe. This is what is needed, this sort of a global approach. And for this, there has to be collective enterprise, not enterprise of an individual or a particular group of individual. The entire world should collaborate in this. And in fact, for that, one individual who is a saint can take a lead. One nation also can take a lead. In fact, the present day world is looking towards India for propagation of those virtues which are responsible for bringing about peace. That means universal love, universal friendship, universal compassion. Well, these are the qualities which have been inculcated right from the Vedic times by our ancient seers and sages. So we have to revisit them and make them known to the world that if we have to survive and thrive, then we have to inculcate these virtues. But these virtues are not just to be taught, they are to be inculcated. And this inculcation is possible only through proper type of education. And that education should start right from childhood, not at the higher level of our education. A child should be taught as to how to lead a virtuous life. So it is the primary or even pre-primary education which we have to attend to. And our education therefore should be goal-oriented, value-oriented, and we have to have sincerity in inculcation or in propagation of these values. They mere such platform speeches we generally do make won't help. What is required is a symbiosis of theory and practice. And it is the practice which is more important. A theory is merely a burden. Jnanam bharam kriya vina. So it is putting our knowledge to use, to practical utility. In Jain tradition, for knowledge, for consciousness, the term used is upayoga. Consciousness is described as a upayoga. Upayoga means something which approximates union. Union of yoga means union. Upa means approximate. Approximates union means a symbiosis of theory and practice. If there is samyak jnana, then it must definitely result in samyak charitra. And if that jnana does not result in charitra, then it is not a jnana, it is not a samyak jnana. So when we talk of right type of education, it is samyak education, which is a fructification of knowledge into being, into our behavior. So it is the enlightened, to use again Buddhist terminology, well, we should not only have sambodhi or bodhichitta, we should also have bodhicharya. Not only we should have purity of consciousness or mindset, we should also have purity of conduct. So this sort of symbiosis is the need of the time. So I hope that India can take a lead in this direction, and we pray God that our politicians who are the policymakers these days get this sort of enlightenment and advice. Thank you very much.